What's up? What's up? The boys are live tonight. We got Keith, we got Matt, Vecchio. We're going to be previewing Tuesday, May 18th slate of playoff games. We got some great games going on right now. The Bruins are up 3-2 the Caps are up 3-2 on the Bruins in the third period. We got the Canes and the Preds tied at 2. And then we got the Blues and the Avs playing a little later tonight. Vecchio, anything you've seen so far from any recommendations you made last night that are popping out?
You know what? To stay away from the Capitals and Bruins goalies seems to be working out. So I mean, Raska's doing okay. Until that third goal, he was doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of some wonky goals in Carolina and Nashville game. That I mean, Saros is not killing you. Like I said, I don't mind playing Saros as price list for tonight. Nedeljkovic, he's doing okay, but they're not getting the shots.
You got to learn how to say his name right, Nedeljkovic.
Nedeljkovic, yeah. I'm saying it as I see it. That's why.
I know, it's crazy. You know what I was surprised about in that game too? Tolvanen was a healthy scratch. John Hine, I'm telling you, man.
I don't know. And then we got the nightcap coming up. We're recording this before that game gets going. So
yeah. Let's do that hockey, as Mr. Mike Rasile says in the chat. Love that guy. But yeah, all right, let's get into we got 3 games on the slate tomorrow. So the first game is going to be the Penguins and the Islanders. The Islanders lead that series 1-0. They won in overtime 4-3 with the Kyle Palmieri winner. Some interesting betting notes I saw from this one. So the series price for the Penguins jumped from -150 before the series started. They're now +140. And then the Islanders jumped from +121 to -175. So I think it's a play here. Put a unit or two on the Penguins series price. I think there's some good value there. The Penguins outchanced the Islanders. They had more high danger chances, more scoring chances in the game. Should have won that game. I think Tristan Jarry kind of almost lost that game for them. It'd be interesting to see if they go to
100% he did.
It'll be interesting to see if they go to Casey DeSmith in Game 2 tomorrow. I don't think they will, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Doesn't look like it. I'm seeing that they already have Jarry locked in as a starter.
Oh, really?
I saw it. Well, DraftKings had him with the P next to his name. I'm looking now on Daily Faceoff to see if they have him listed yet for tomorrow. But let's see.
But yeah, so we got Penguins on the money line at -132, Isles at +114. The over's probably 5.5 at the over. You're actually getting plus money on that over. We do love the plus money overs sometimes. Ivan in the chat saying Jarry is the starter tomorrow. And then we got the spread, Penguins -1.5 at +188, Islanders +1.5 -235. So I'm probably going to stay away from this game, although I could see, taking a little gamble on the Penguins, thinking they're going to come back Game 2. They had the best home record in the league, but I think the real value is on that series price, jumping 90 points after a Game 1 loss. And realistically, it's kind of tough to, win 2 games in a row at home. So I think the Islanders definitely got a good jump, but I think there's definitely some value on the series price. As far as the DFS slate goes, Vecchio, how are we looking? Any players you're really eyeing up, either goalie, possibly throwing in some lineups?
I mean, if Varlamov is back for the Islanders, I don't hate that one because the Penguins shoot the puck a lot. Sorokin he was, I think, the second best, no, third. I think he was the third best goalie on Sunday, behind Talbot and Fleury, but that was a 1-0 overtime game. So to give up 3 goals and still be the third goalie on the slate, that was not too bad. His price is cheap. I think they're like $7,500. He's 77 if he plays Sorokin. So I don't mind that price against the Penguins team. If you're playing tournaments, if you're playing cash, no, I don't take a chance because Penguins could easily put up 5 goals on him on Tuesday. But looking at the Penguins side first, obviously the Penguins top line is definitely the first place to look with Gensel, Rust, and Crosby. Because as long as Crosby's on the ice, anything can happen. He's just so good with the puck. He gets in the right spot. He makes the right pass, plays every game. If Malkin is back, I don't want to play line 2, where he'll slot back in probably with Kapanen and Zucker on his wings. But I do prefer the Pens third line than if Malkin's back, because you got most likely you'll go back to the way it was before Malkin got hurt, with Carter centering McCann and Gaudreau. So Goudreau's been really good for the Penguins. He's really cheap. McCann and Carter are not going to break the bank, and they've all been playing really well. And plus, McCann was on the first power play unit. I don't know if he stays there. Malcolm comes back. I have to look at it. I don't think he does. Actually, no, he won't because Malcolm take his spot. So, but Carter and McCann will go to power play too. And Goudreau, like we saw him score a goal on Sunday, he's been really good for the Penguins since they put him in the lineup about a month ago. So I like him. And then looking on defense, Matheson's back. He's 3,100 on DraftKings, real cheap. Playing on the second power play unit, I believe, still. So if you play Matheson with like Carter and McCann, if Malcolm's back on power play too, and then watch too, Brian Dumoulin he's a day-to-day tag. He got hurt in the third period. He took a puck off the skate. He was in a lot of pain after the game, they said, and so Mark Friedman may get back in the game. Back in for the lineup for the Penguins because he did play a lot at the end, and he's min price on DraftKings 2,500, and he did really well. He played a lot of ice time when he was on. He picked up some points. He blocks a lot of shots, so he's real cheap. Like I said, min price. You could put him in to balance off some of the high prices on the Penguins if you want to play like a Crosby Gensel stack and then throw Friedman in for min price. And I don't need to correlate defensemen with power play lines necessarily or with any forwards because they're all going to see time with everybody the way the D works. So I don't mind just playing a one-off, cheap D-man like that with a couple of high-price forwards for the Penguins. And then I guess if you want to look at the Islanders, the first line's good, but Leo Komarov on the top line for Islanders is useless fantasy-wise. He's a good real-life plug guy. He likes to go in the corners, gets the puck, but he's useless in fantasy. So I would rather say take Barzell and Eberle and put Pavoulier with them. He plays in the power play. And the Islanders' third line, Pajot, Wallstrom, and Palmieri played really well on Sunday. The Penguins really couldn't stop them. So those would be the two ways I would go with the Islanders. And then you can obviously play Pulak on defense, but Leddy and Dobson play power play. So if you're playing the first power play unit, Barzell, Eberle, Pavoulier, if you take one of them out, want to play a D-man with them, that would be Leddy. And then Dobson's on the second unit with Wallstrom. And I think Bailey is on the second unit as well. But I prefer the Islanders top line with Pavoulier instead of Komarov, and then the Islanders third line.
Perfect. Should be a good game too. I think the Penguins should have some energy in that building. Hopefully, come out strong. Yep, that series tied up. All right, second game on the slate. We had the Battle of Florida. Absolutely electric game yesterday. 5-4 back and forth battle. A lot of penalties, a lot of hits. One suspension. Sam Bennett got a 1-game suspension today. Kucherov came back, played his first game since Stanley Cup final. Just, put up a casual 2 goals. I think he had another assist, right? 3 points total.
I think so.
Yeah, just absolutely electric. Now, this is a big jump in series prices. So Tampa Bay went from -143 before the series started, and now they're -305. Florida, on the other hand, started at +116, and they jumped all the way up to +235. If you look at the money line for tomorrow, Lightning are -129, Panthers are +112. The over/under is set at 6, and on the puck line, the Lightning are -1.5, +195. Panthers covering 1.5 is -250. I kind of like so the thing with Sam Bennett, right? He obviously added some juice to that second line with Duclair and Huberdeau once he popped in there. But the Panthers were still winning without him. They still won some games against Lightning without him. And even though Kucherov and Stamkos look great tomorrow, I almost want to take the Panthers money line at home, a home dog. I think the Panthers showed a lot of fight yesterday. I really hope Quenneville puts in Drieger over Bobrovsky. I think Bobrovsky kind of similar situation as Jari. I think he kind of lost him that game. He had a few goals where it's questionable to let in. He was looked out of position on one. And then he cheated, obviously, because Kucherov hit him twice on the one time, or he cheated on the 1 goal and then Braden Point, quick pass to Kucherov, point right in there. So if we get Drieger tomorrow, I'm probably going to take Panthers money line at the +112 value. Hopefully it jumps a little bit. If Bobrovsky's in, I'm probably laying away from this. And I don't think there's any value on the series. If anything, maybe sprinkle a little bit on the Panthers. You could take that over too. They obviously had a big game yesterday. It was 5-4 game. And then there's the over-unders at 6 tomorrow. Yeah, that's a good stat by Ivan in the chat. Vass has allowed 4+ in the last 3 versus the Panthers. And to the credit too, so the Panthers were throughout the whole season this year, they were fourth on their over win percentage, as were the Lightning out of the 16 teams in the playoffs. And the Panthers are third on total goals. So there's definitely some over trends there. That's probably the only play. And then, as I mentioned, we'll take the Panthers if we get Dreger in goal. Anything on the DFS slate as far as, I bet Kucherov's probably going to go up in price, I would imagine. Maybe some value on that second line or third line with Coleman or Gord.
I do like all Tampa Bay's top three lines. And Kucherov jumped up $600 to $7,800. He's $1,300 more than the next highest price wing in that game. That's Huberdeau. With Bennett being suspended, that changes up Florida's lines a lot. But we'll look at Tampa first. All three of their top three lines are in play because they all contributed on Sunday. So my favorite probably would have to be the first line, just because how good Point and Kucherov looked together on Sunday. But the Ross Colton, Yanni Gordy, and Blake Coleman line three was really good as well. So they're inexpensive. So if you want Tampa Bay exposure, but you want to pay up, say a Vegas line or for the Penguins with the Islander power play, then you can look at the third line. And then as far as Florida goes, Bennett being suspended, we don't really have their lines because we'll have to see what happens in the morning on Tuesday and see what happens as far as any kind of shakeups. But I would assume you probably get Wenberg back on the second line where he was for most of the year until they got Bennett in the trade. And then or even Noel Acciari may come up and play. He's on the fourth line currently, but
I could even see Gusev hopping into that second line. He played some first line before he got traded over from the Devils, and then he might even pop in. He was a scratch.
That's true. He can come back in, but I think with as far as a center
Bruins just tied it to 3-3.
I think that's and then as far as on both those teams, defense is cheap outside of Hedman and for Mackenzie Weegar. Everybody else is inexpensive. So and both teams have a lot of defensemen who do the extracurricular stuff. You get your shots on goal, block shots. So like a Radko Gudas or Brandon Montour for the Florida or McDonough, David Savard, they're all inexpensive on DraftKings, and they offer those extracurricular type like home points where you get the block shots, the shots on goal.
We got Alan in here now too. Alan, how's it going, brother?
It's going great, man. I'm sorry I'm a little late, but I'm happy to join us. I mean, we do have a good slate of playoff games tomorrow. So, which game are we talking about? I'm ready to hop in.
We're on Panthers Lightning, bro.
Oh man, I love this game. I mean, Kucherov's price probably went up from last game, so
that's what I was saying. I had to.
Yeah, but you can never really go wrong with Kucherov. That top line is insane. Florida, I've seen a lot of value from Sam Bennett this season. I'm not quite sure how well he did in that last game. I wasn't able to watch it, but I'm sure you can definitely find value from that second line that's been absolutely killer. Sasha Barkov has always been insane.
Sasha's a legend. Dude.
Yeah, and
legend.
I'm pretty sure Mackenzie Weegar did well last game too. So if you're looking for kind of a D on the more affordable end, you can definitely go for him. And he does get a lot of minutes, especially with Ekblad out.
Yeah, for sure. Agreed. Great points, boys. Anything quick, Alan, you like? We already did the Islanders, Penguins, but if there's anything you really like, throw it quick.
Vegas.
Honestly. No, the Islanders, Penguins.
Oh, Islanders, Penguins. Oh,
are your ears working tonight?
Yeah. No, I thought you said you already mentioned that, so we're going to the last game. But yeah. With Islanders, Penguins. It's really hard because neither team has a ton of consistency that I'd like to pick on them a lot. I know that they're both very kind of tight defensive teams right now. So I guess from the Islanders, I would. But from Pittsburgh, I don't know. I think you could get a lot of value from their top line as well. I really like the way Gensel's been playing. I like Crosby, and I definitely like Rust. So I think I really do think that even though that top line is a little bit expensive, that they will come through for you in this slate.
Love it. Love it. Let's hop into game number 3. Another absolute battle, but for other reasons. This game had no goals until overtime. We have the Minnesota Wild and the Vegas Golden Knights. Minnesota leads that series 1-0. The series prices opened at plus 190 for Minnesota, down to minus 114 right now. Vegas opened at minus 240, and they're down to minus 108. I see some value on that Vegas series line. I think that's a huge jump from losing game 1. And I think, Pacioretty's injury might be built into that a little bit, assuming he might be out for throughout games 2, 3, 4, etc. But having said that, I mean, Vegas they were one of the cup favorites, their third cup favorite. Minnesota has had their number this year, but I really think that line moved a lot. All things considered, they had their number all year, and they were still a plus 190 dog on that series. So one OT win shouldn't have it moving that much. So I see some value on the Vegas series as we pull up the line for tomorrow's actual game now. We got Minnesota's plus 140 on the money line. Vegas is minus 165. That over-under is at 5.5. And then the spread plus 1.5 for Minnesota is minus 210. Minus 1.5 is at plus 178 for Vegas. Not much value on that game. I really think that Vegas is a pretty heavy money line favorite, or all things considered. I probably wouldn't touch them. If anything, you might want to sprinkle a little value on Minnesota. It also is going to be tough to win too in that building. Vegas was absolutely electric. The over 5.5, you might call me stupid, but these teams actually put in some goals this year. Minnesota was first on their over win percentage out of the 16 playoff teams, and Vegas was third. And Minnesota was fourth overall out of the 16 teams in total goals, goals against and goals for. So I think there might be a little value on that over, and I think we're getting some plus money on it because of a 1-0 game yesterday. So I think the goals might flow in a little bit more tomorrow. I'd take a look at that over 5.5, but I probably wouldn't touch the money lines or the puck lines. But diving into the DFS slate, we can start with Allen this time since he came in a little late. Vegas or Minnesota, I mean, we got a mismatch at top line. Mark Stone's been solid all year, but he's not been working with some good players. They moved Tuck up midway through the game to play with him, dropped Nosek down. That Smith-Carlson, Marchessault line's always been solid. We got Theodore and Petrangelo on the back end. What are we looking at for Vegas' side of it? Or even Minnesota?
Real quick, you just got Carolina 3-2, Niederreiter from Nakash. So that call last night on Nakash, good call there, Alan. Got the assist.
There we go.
But go ahead, Alan. Yeah. Well, I'll talk about that.
You can go. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, this is one I want with goaltenders.
In my opinion, I really think that Vegas is going to come out of this game like really, really aggressively. And the reason why is because after a game like that where
You're good. Just keep talking, Alan, or not. Becky, go.
All right. I was saying, I want the goalies from here. I don't trust. I mean, Vasilevsky you could play, and if Drieger starts, maybe from the other game. But we're going to get Fleury. I really like Talbot, since it seems like that's where they're going to go. He's 7,500 on DraftKings. That's really cheap. Vegas, I mean, without Pacioretty, they seem to have trouble scoring. As for me, I mean, I don't mind paying up for Vegas' D, either with, like you mentioned, Theodore and Petrangelo, and then Alec Martinez. If you want to pay up for a defenseman, that's where I'd pay up. But Vegas' second line is pretty much the only line I'm interested in for Vegas right now, because I don't, like you said, they moved Tuck up mid-game. They play with Stone and Stevenson, so that's not a bad combo, but line two's played together all year. They're the most consistent. They have the most ice time together, so that would be the only line on Vegas I'm considering. And then for Minnesota's, their second and third line are both really good. Those line one, it's not the where I would go for Minnesota, even though Eriksson scored the game winner. But I would still rather play line 2 or line 3 from Minnesota on Tuesday.
Perfect. We'll see if Alan's working now.
I should be good to go. So for Vegas, I completely agree. I think their second line is really the only line you could really consider. And then for Minnesota as well, like I gotta agree there too. Like I really only like Kirill Kaprizov on Minnesota. I hate to say it, but like their team isn't really that deep other than the defense. And then like when we're
No
looking
love
at
for Fiala or Zuccarello.
not really. I mean, Zuccarello a little bit, but it's just because he's playing with Kaprizov. I think their team was carried this season by Kaprizov. I think he's going to be a huge, huge piece for them going forward. And I think that Vegas, as I was saying, or I tried to say earlier, Vegas is going to come out of this game guns a-blazing. They are pissed from last game. Their coach should be mad at their team. They should be absolutely disappointed without scoring a single goal in a playoff game. That is unacceptable, and they know that, and they know that they're not going to allow that. They're not going to allow that again. So I think coming into this game, you're definitely going to see Vegas shooting early. You're definitely going to see them take some chances that they might not usually take at the beginning of games. And yes, as Vecchio said, that second line for me, I don't trust their first line. Patches needs to come back for them to get their mojo back. That second line has been very, very good in his absence. They've taken a kind of leadership role on that team, and I really did like Alec Martinez as well throughout the season. His price, especially, like I know his DraftKings price like inflated fairly enough. It did inflate, but on Fanduel, like they just completely disrespected him. He was like the Brian Rust of last season. He was always there, always affordable, and like he was putting up like 20 points a night consistently. Until he got hurt, he was like a mainstay in all of my lines. My first builds, I would always throw in Alec Martinez.
Quick question for you guys. How aligned are the DraftKings and the FanDuel prices before we wrap this up tonight? Just quick. I was just curious. Like, are they usually pretty close, or do you find some value or discrepancies?
It seems, from as far as I can tell, but I don't play on FanDuel much. Alan does. He can speak to this, but the goaltending seems to be a bigger discrepancy as far as you'll get guys saw a lot this season. Say, those nights where I've been writing an article and Connor Hellebuck could be 86 on FanDuel and 73 on DraftKings. Like or there's nights where John Gibson was 75 on DraftKings and 66 on FanDuel. It's like it's like $1,000 difference sometimes or more with the goalies. But like he said, there's guys like Martinez. He's 5,400 on DraftKings tomorrow. He's probably in the 4K range on FanDuel. There are some discrepancies. You have to find them, but. Brian Rush was that guy last year. They always priced him way too low on FanDuel, did not give him any respect. Adam Fox, I think, is kind of the same, if I remember correctly. He was kind of
they fixed that
no respect
towards the end of the season.
They fixed that this season? Okay.
Yeah.
He got no respect last year.
Now he's priced like Dougie Hamilton.
Yeah, which he should be, because he was sixth in the league in assists this season of all players, not just defensemen, all players.
Yeah.
So
cool.
But yeah, no, Vecchio's absolutely right. Obviously, there's genuine overlap, like your Crosby is going to be as high on both sides, and you're going to have like Matthews very, very high on both sides. You're not going to have discrepancies there. When it comes to goalies, they're all over the place, because I know once FanDuel pretty much hates a goalie, you could pick them up for like 6,800. Like they really put goalies in the doghouse sometimes. But
that's where Blackwood and John Gibson were all season.
Exactly.
All season, Blackwood and Gibson.
You could get a lot of plus money on Saros, or not plus money, but you could get a lot of value out of Saros, considering that he has at like 7,200 and he was getting like 40-point wins. Like it was really, really decent for a long time. And there was a few other guys who they had priced. Oh my God, Kevin Lankinen. He was playing really, really well. He was priced at like 7,100. He did, but
I remember a night where he was 81 on DraftKings and 69 on FanDuel.
Exactly.
It's like, well, I'm not touching him on DraftKings, but on FanDuel you have to play him because he's so cheap. But one guy who never got any respect on FanDuel, but it makes sense, was Binnington. He always priced super low on FanDuel also.
Now
we'll see how he does tonight.
We'll see. But,
he better get up 6 goals tonight. He better get up 6 goals. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. And also with FanDuel, sometimes they're very slow to update player prices. I think Burakovsky's an excellent example. Like the guy was, throughout his run, was pretty much still at 4 when I think DraftKings rightfully raised his price up quite significantly, like in the middle of that run. And now we see Burakovsky somewhere in the 5K range, but still that's not entirely accurate, but I guess like it's closer to what it should be. I think in the 6s it should be more fair. But also there's another thing to note is that you have less money on DraftKings. So when they're pricing their players up, you're really up against the cap. You have $50,000 on DraftKings and 55,000. Don't ask me why. 55,000 on FanDuel. So when you see players that are cheaper on FanDuel, it's easier to build, and that's something you have to take in when you're deciding which site you want to play on. Also, like, you look at the contest. There's so many things to look at, but like pricing is definitely one of those points where you just want to make sure that you're able to make builds that you're comfortable with.
Yep. Perfect. Well, great. Good show. This is What the Puck. These are Tuesday's games. Let's get some winners. We still got the games rolling tonight. Blues and Avs. About the puck drop now. We got the Caps and Bruins going to overtime. And then, as Vecchio said, Hurricanes took the lead 3-2. We'll come in. We'll check in tomorrow. We'll let you guys know how we did, and we'll keep it rolling. Let's have a great playoffs, boys.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, everyone.
Sure.